planet had been sleeping for 1,000 years. In that time, 4,000 seasons had changed.
Some species died out, new ones began to emerge.
Distant stars collapsed into black holes. Other stars were born.
And still they slept on, dreaming the dreams of centuries.
Working out the small fears and larger terrors of their early years.
And then, one day, they awakened, like Rip Van Winkle, or a person who'd been in a coma long lost to the world.
Or someone set free from a life sentence for a crime they didn't commit.
And there was a new world, almost a new universe.
The stain of time was all anew.
And yet, time itself was the same, cruel and demanding and insistent, like someone who could never be satisfied with the way things are.
Smug, callous time, brat of the universe, who sooner or later destroys all plans and dreams.
What were they to do? No one they had known in their early lives was still alive anymore, and yet everything was still expected of them. Would they be able to make the most of it, or feel daunted and overwhelmed and only want to go back to sleep? Or become murderers in a frenzy, destroying everything they were supposed to create and sustain? Anyway, those were two projections of what might happen. The second, the worst nightmare of the unseen.
Do you think either of those scenarios is likely to come true?
I don't know. I just have to try to make my judgments rationally, objectively, based on evidence within the parameters I'm given. But lately, I'm even more hesitant to pull the plug, as it were, on any of the dreamers.
Why? What happened?
Last year, I reported a wayward dreamer. His dreams were deeply rebellious, almost subversive, you might say. I had no choice but to report it. All the same, I didn't want to be responsible for making him re-enter the stream of time before he'd had a chance to realize the future that was his. Because of faulty dreams, how completely lost would he be?
You were only doing what you were supposed to do.
Yes, I suppose so.
And if you hadn't, what could happen to you?
What punishment would be enough for someone who betrayed the future? At least I'd lose my job, my little room, probably any means of surviving. Or they would assign me to one of the underground garbage dumps.
You'd be like me.
Worse.
Well, I didn't think that was possible.
But maybe I should have taken the chance. It certainly seemed so when I received a visitor 6 months later.
Was it an agent of the unseen? Had they guessed you were thinking of hiding negative assessments?
I never said I was, or did. Anyway, it was someone else.
Who?
The young man I had reported. He had grown into an almost godlike stature, tall, well-built as was expected of him. His profile pictures showed also that he had blue eyes of the most brilliant azure color with a glint of gold at the edges. But the man who appeared pounding on my door late one night, I didn't recognize him at all. And he was holding a weapon in his left hand.
Open up, or I'll break this door, damn you.
I looked through the security camera. What do you want? I asked.
Don't you know who I am?
He demanded. His eyes were blue, but cold and sharp, with the brilliance all turned inward. You could have cut glass with his gaze. And the shadows that had hold of him made him seem more dead than alive. A heavy lump of fear congealed around my heart. I don't know you.
Look more closely.
So I did. And I realized who he was. And I opened the door. He raised a weapon and pointed it at my chest.
Yes, I can see now that you know.
I was only doing my job, I said quietly. I had no choice.
There are always choices, except for me. I have nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep, except for the street. The unseen, they still send me scraps now and then, just enough to survive, because they want me to suffer, to be an example of what happens to those who disappoint them, who betray the future. But I'm not going to let them have the satisfaction. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself.
No doubt I may deserve it, but your dreams threatened them. A completely different set of possibilities than they had in mind.
Oh.
Yes, a world with far less emphasis on status and levels and more on connections and hope, so much so that there was no way for me to hide them.
What kind of universe condemns someone for their dreams? And now what do I have? No future and no past, except now when I sleep, I have no dreams at all.
I am so very sorry.
You are going to pay.
But only let me say this to you, and then you can do what you want.
Why should I listen?
I don't know. But I did spend years monitoring you before I made that report. You can at least give me 5 minutes?
I'll give you 2.
Very well. When I read your dreams, you were in stasis, not able to take any action whatsoever, imprisoned by that endless present of sleep, and your future indentured to the whims of the unseen, because who knows what will really happen when the dreamers awaken, whether those elaborate plans made so long ago by the unseen will really come true, or how many of the sleepers they'll be willing to sacrifice to make them happen. You had the possibility of a future, yes, but no guarantee of whether it would be a good one. Now you are free of that fettered future. You are alive in this present. You have the gift of a second chance. Don't throw away what you still might have, what you might plan and make for yourself. Make the most of each moment, please, and live.
So what did he do?
He hesitated a long moment. Then he slowly lowered his weapon.
God.
Yes, that's good. He looked at me and he began to cry. And I took him in my arms and hugged him like this. He stepped away and sighed the saddest sigh I have ever heard, of a man who has lost everything and yet for whom anything might still be possible. His eyes began to gain some softness and depth, and he handed me the weapon. And then he said,
I can't believe what I almost did. Why did you open the door when you saw I had a weapon?
Yes, why did you?
I thought I owed you that much at least to stand face to face.
But how did you know I wouldn't kill you? You're very brave.
No, I don't think I'm brave at all. You forget I knew your dreams.
Yes, I suppose you did.
Then he smiled, turned, and quickly disappeared back into the uncertain night. I looked up and down the street, no one, and I quietly closed the door.
Did you ever see him again?
No, never.
Eyes of the palest blue, with a hint of gold at the edges.
Yes. Why do you ask?
Oh, no good reason. Just not very common, that's all.
No. No, it is not.
Henry went out in the lobby to stretch his legs. But we know why he's there, don't we? He's pretending to contemplate the long, narrow filaments of the modernist chandelier that's suspended above the atrium. He was glad it wasn't his job to change those lights. Just using the step stool to reach the elevator ceiling made him dizzy.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't make a very good astronaut.
Why? Are you thinking of becoming one, young man?
What?
I asked, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Have you seen any strange birds around in the buildings lately?
Huh? Can't say that I have. I know that sparrows cluster in the trees on the sides of the buildings. They can be very noisy in the morning.
Yes, but not what I meant at all.
I see.
Not sure you'll do, young man, but never mind. How are things going today?
Fine, thanks. I've been a bit tired from working the night shift last week, and I think I drank too much Coke. So now I'm exhausted and hyper at the same time. But otherwise, well, my left kneecap has been rather sore. I must have banged it on a table leg.
That's interesting. You should be more careful. I have arthritis myself. Listen, I have to ask you something.
I really should get back to work.
This will only take a second. I live in that wing there. You don't live in that wing?
No, I don't. I told you before I work here.
Yes, I know, but some of the janitors have apartments here too. And I just thought, because I've seen you in the lobby a lot lately, and
Look, I don't live here.
fine, all the better than maybe if you are not one of them. You are not, are you? One of them?
Who? No, how could I be?
Of course, I didn't think so. I am usually a good judge of character. Have you ever, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, but have you ever heard a strange noise in this building late at night?
A strange noise?
Yeah, sort of like this. Grunk, grunk, grunk. Shh. Ding, ding, ding. Grunk, grunk, grunk. Shh. It has gotten so bad I can hardly sleep anymore.
It's not coming from the elevator, is it?
No, of course not. From the apartment below me. I live all the way at the end of the hall, not anywhere near the elevator. I told you, I'm in the corner unit there, you see. Do you have a problem with focusing on things?
Uh-huh. I mean, no, I don't.
I had many students like you. Incredibly difficult to teach things like the Constitution. Worse, maybe even than some of our congressmen. But it is just a matter of discipline and perseverance and not giving up.
I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. About this noise, too. Well, someone has to do something. It is really terrible. My relatives in Building 7, they think I'm just a crazy old widow driven over the bend by grief. Well, they are in-laws on the other side of the family. You don't think I'm crazy, do you?
Um, no, actually. Well,
Well,
of course I don't. But
I think they just want to move me out so they can sell my apartment.
do they?
But I am not going. I'm not. I want you to come over one night at, say, 1 a.m. and just listen.
At 1 a.m.?
That really so terribly hard to listen to what someone else is saying for a change? Just to listen to another human being.
You don't know the half of it.
What?
Never mind.
I bet if you had a girlfriend, she would tell you that all the time.
Well, I did meet someone recently, but
Have you? Too bad. I was thinking of introducing you to my granddaughter Amy sometime. She's a bit stubborn, but you might like her. You are not great shakes yourself, so
actually, the funny thing is,
you shouldn't be expecting too much.
well, I'm not, but I'm trying to say, to tell you that,
Don't have to explain anything. I understand it all. Just don't set your sights too high with this new girl, whoever she is. You will only be disappointed. Anyway, I don't let my granddaughter date every man in the world, you know. So it is just as well. We must be careful about these things.
yes, I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. Will you come then?
Where?
To my apartment. You didn't go very far in school, did you? Never mind. You seem sincere enough. Next Wednesday night at 1 a.m. That is when I will be expecting you. Just knock on my door like this.
Like this?
Yes, good. You finally got something right.
Sorry, it's my boss. I better.
Henry, are you on your toes like you promised?
Yes, Uncle Marty, I am.
Good. Just checking, my dear boy. Otherwise, I'll have to buy you a pair of elevator shoes. Got it?
Yes, Uncle Marty, very funny.
Oh, nothing to report?
No, Uncle Marty.
Why do I not trust implicitly what you say?
Maybe trust issues when you were a child? I heard that Mom used to play practical jokes on you all the time. You know, put salt in your sugar bowl, or ice cubes in your bubble bath.
No, I catatonically don't remember such goings on.
Maybe blocked it out? I bet you even once stole your little rubber duck and replaced it with a small iridescent shark, and you were terrified and ran around the house naked until she could calm you down.
Slanderous, lies, deceit. I had a towel. She told you all that?
Well, not really. I heard her bragging to one of her friends about it one time over tea and, well, brandy. They were giggling their heads off.
I see. So you can eavesdrop on your own mother to dig up dirt swept under the rug long ago about me, but you can't call on the carpet a couple of drug dealers right under your own nose. Listen, if you do see them, you better have them under lock and key, because if I hear that you let them get away, I will be very upset indeed.
Mom must have treated you really bad.
You don't know the half of it. But then she did toughen me up, and I intend to return the favor to you. So buck up, keep your eyes peeled, and call 911 if you need to, okay?
Yes, sir, but I can't do that if I'm talking to you, can I? So if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to work.
Oh, just go and do something right for a change.
Oh, hi. I was just talking to your grandma.
My grandma?
I hope that's okay.
Well, I mean, it's a free lobby. Were you waiting for me?
Yeah.
For how long?
Oh, I don't know. About 27 years.
How old are you?
27. I was very precocious as a child.
And writing stories too? Here, let me see what you're reading. Those who walk away from Amelas.
It's a short story by Ursula Le Guin about people who protest a utopian but cruel society by leaving it. Le Guin died just a few months ago. I wish I had had a chance to meet her. She was amazing. But then her future will live into our futures, and I think that's pretty cool.
You know, truth is, reality in the present can be strange and challenging enough. Every day, the future waits around the corner to surprise us, and it's only moments away.
You're absolutely right. But
When I was younger, I was in fairies and goblins and dragons phase, and for a while, I was really big into Tamora Pierce. You know, the girl who wants to become a knight. Oh, but then I got back into school.
what are you studying?
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
No, I won't. Try me.
Well, I'm doing my VA in the history of dance.
Well, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, well, you should have seen the look on the other graduate students' faces when I gave my last presentation. He looked at me like I was from outer space. Well, I looked at him like he was an inferior creature.
He was.
Not really, just ignorance. He had the nerve to tell my professor I should switch to something else because dance has to be understood with the body. And how dare I try to tell someone how to find a balancing point in the world? Well, my professor told him to stuff it.
Oh, good for her.
Henry and Amy go back into his office.
So, are you going to show me what you've written since last time?
Sorry, I don't have any popcorn, but would you like some chocolate?
No, maybe later.
I don't share it with everyone.
I bet you don't. quick. Yes, it's kind of starting to grow on me, bit by bit, despite its oddities and quirks.
I was going to study writing in school, but I couldn't afford it.
It doesn't matter. Just keep at it.
You think I should?
If you really want something, if it's really important, don't give up on your dreams. Okay?
Okay, I won't.
Now, hand me some chocolate. Shut up. And let me read.